Hey, it's Rob Kickass, and today we have a Chrysler in here. It's making a bit of a noise. If you guys are familiar with Chryslers, you know they are notorious, especially this particular one. They have the Pentastar motor. So let's get to it. I'm gonna get this thing torn apart, figure out that noise. Come along.
Yeah. Girls never get life to the sheep, least nice, but nah, he ain't nice underneath. Got a price on the leash, I don't trust when he speak. He sound a real spite for the
All right, we got the intake off. Whenever you take off an intake, I really suggest that you put something in the intake, kind of like what I'm doing here. Just enough to stop anything that might fall, like a socket or a bolt or something that maybe you didn't even notice and you knocked it with your arm. It can happen. The best thing to do is fill those guys up like that. But yeah, we're gonna pull these coils out. A few bits that have to come off around the outside here. I believe this has to come off back here. And we're gonna pop these valve covers off and see what we find. Okay, come along with me as we investigate this noise. We're looking for... Oh, that's not good. See the metal building up on that? Oh. I got two. You can see right there. You can see this, the ridge. This one's got one too. So that one's bad, that one's bad. That one feels okay. Oh no, that one might be bad. It's not looking good. Whoa! So definitely this camshaft. That camshaft looks good. So we're definitely going to replace all these rollers just because we have ones that are defective in here. That means the other ones are going to go bad. Oh yeah, that one's bad. This one's getting spots on it. Okay, so worst case, looking right now, it's two camshafts. These are all fine. But the other thing that's bad is if we take these cam towers off and they're just torched underneath. You can see all the metal that it starts to throw through the system as I take my finger and smear through it. So that's metal built up because that's a magnet. So that is what we call forbidden glitter. We don't like the forbidden glitter. Yeah. That's a good bit of metal. I'm gonna go check on the price for all these tappets and rockers because we're gonna do them all. Just so, probably gonna be two camshafts, all the rollers, and all the tappets, and we should be good. Oh, we're gonna do spark plugs. Let me check the spark plugs. Somebody's already done them, then we're good, but it looks like it's got the factory coils. I'll pull the spark plugs out real quick. The coils are still good. We might just throw them back in there to save them some money for now, and then she can come back later and I'll hook her up. We'll see what we're gonna do. I'll do some more poking around. If I find anything else, I'll let you guys know. Okay. Well, I'll let you guys know if I found something more. I found the same thing, but I found one that's really, really bad. You guys gotta see this. Right here. It's a perfect example of how it wears down and cuts into that cam. Like that one's almost, I mean, it's way in there. It's a good, probably 8 millimeters. That one's really loose. Yeah, this one's probably got to collapse. Yeah, I bet you that little lifter's collapsed. There's another thing that goes bad with these things too, are these bolts. See that bolt down there? That bolt, and that bolt, that bolt. Yeah, what happens is they back out. I did some more poking and saw that, and I was like, yeah. Yikes. Let's go get making a quote. All right, we have got just about all our parts. Coils, slugs. We're missing some. What? Yep. We're missing one cam. Should be here today. So that's why I'm out here. I'm gonna get all this stuff back in here. So what you want to do when you're doing these kind of rockers, you're gonna want to soak them in oil so the air comes out of them. See the bubbles coming up. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Then I coat these in oil too, because they literally are hydraulic. And there's a little hole in the side that oil comes into. You see it right there. And there's one on the top. But yeah, we got the little rollers. You want to have good sufficient oil in there. You don't want something to start off with no oil. So we're gonna soak oil all in those guys. The cam we will soak once it's in there. We will put some assembly lube. And I maybe go running to the store if I don't have any more left. We'll see. We're gonna get this guy ready to go. I got the special tool. Ambizoni special. Check this out. Oh. I think the real fancy one is, these are actually metal, but they're great, you know. That one's for the right guy. Left head. And these are the tension doohickeys that go down, I believe, and they ride on the bolts right there, and they push down on the tensioners. Yeah, that takes the tension off of the chain. I'll show you how I use that here. Let me get this thing turned to tap dead center. We're almost there. They all have marks on them. This particular one has 2 arrows. Yeah, 2 arrows, and then it has these lines on the top, and then there's these holes on the cams. So there's several things that indicate you're at top dead center. It's really hard to mess up. They made it kind of idiot proof. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna get it top dead center, and then we're gonna actually mark with paint where this one mark right here. Then we're gonna paint the chain where that lines up on all of them, just in case, because we're gonna have to take this cam out, and then we're taking that cam out. So these other 2 are gonna stay in there, and we're just gonna take this off, and we're gonna take this off and change the oil too, and see how much metal is on that filter. Let's do that right now. Let's go ahead and pull the old filter off and see how much schmutz we have on the filter. Okay, it's not covered in forbidden glitter. That's good. Well, that's real good. I'm any metal pieces in there. So I was taking the lug nuts off. Went into some time warp where I went to a German Chrysler place. They've got lug stuff. What the? They've gone German. I've never seen that on an American car. Please chime in if I'm just not up with it. Please leave a comment if you know why Chrysler did that, or if there's other vehicles that are American cars that are just turning German. Yeah. Alright, let's take these bolts off this son of a gun. Okay, so we're going to put some spark plugs in. Good thing to do is when you have your old spark plug out is put it next to the other one and make sure the electrode is the same depth. You want to make sure it's the same heat range. Obviously, you looked up by VIN number, you should. These are both 11s. Yes. Gap's good. We checked it with our little guy. Yeah, put it in there, adjust it. But another good thing to do is test the spark plug, because you don't want to have to put this back in, and yeah, just because it's new does not mean it's good. This porcelain cracks. You won't see it. You'll barely see it. You're like, oh, it's a brand new plug. You'll stick it in there, it'll be misfiring like crazy, and there'll be a tiny hairline crack in this porcelain. Then what happens is the electricity arcs out that crack and into the block, so you have a misfire. You can get them online, they should come, but double check before you go tearing your car apart that none of this is cracked. So you can get these things pretty cheap. It's a spark plug tester, and you stick it in there and you jank it up, and you can see, yeah, crank it up. You can play different musics, no, different sounds, you know, play with it. I think it's like different RPM. That's 6,000 RPM. Don't touch that though. If you touch that, it will shock the shit out of you. How do I know this? I do remember, and if anybody's watching this that was in that class at the time, I don't know who it was. I think it was Tal or somebody got shocked by the spark plug thing. I still remember that to this day. It was when I was in college. I think Mr. B, if you remember who that was in the class that did that, chime in and let me know in the comments who it was. I think it was Tal. Test your plugs. I'm gonna go ahead and test all these, make sure that they're all good. But yeah, so yeah, thought I'd stop and do that, but we're gonna get back to slapping these plugs in. Okay, we got it on top dead center. I went ahead and painted the chains here, just in case. So, you get this fancy little hookity-doo-dah. That goes down. If you look at this tensioner, in the side this way, there's a hole. There's a hole right here in the top, and there's a hole down in the side. You want to turn this thing down about yay, and then you turn it in. When you turn it in, you pull up, and it has like a little locking mechanism on the whatchamacallit. And what you're doing is you're twisting it in there and pulling up and pulling on the lock. And then you get your little one that looks like a wedge. You're pretty much pushing the guide back. See the guide right there? You're pushing that back, and this little metal thing, notice I have a long leash on it so it doesn't fall into the engine. I made it just idiot proof so you can't lose it, especially when I'm using one hand. So while that's sitting in there, this takes the slack off because you're pushing. Whoa! And it jumps out and does backflips. But yeah, so pretty much you're just going down in there and you're pushing that back. You can see it to get the tension off of the chain. So there's several ways you can do it. You can push it and hold it. But I want to say you stick a little thing down in the top hole and that locks it open. I don't know. I'm going to play with this. Let me pull this out real quick. But I'm going to go ahead and loosen these up. When I get to that, we'll mess with that. Then there's a different one in the back where you use this and it slides on a bolt down here and it does the same kind of thing. It pushes against the tension or the guide and takes the tensioner off. But I don't have the long thing for that. Didn't come in that kit. So I think I'm going to show you another trick to do that one. Alright, so we've got the first cam out. And you can see where it's eating into that camshaft. Looks like it was starting on that one. Look at that. Eating there pretty good. Pretty good there. Oh yeah. Look at that guy. That one's not bad. Oh, yeah. Look at that. You don't want that play. This is the worst one. That's about to fall out. See the little ball bearings in there? They start to fall out the bottom. And then this part rides on the camshaft when it's supposed to be this part. Yeah, that's a perfect example of what happens. Perfect example. Take all that garbage out of there. Look around, make sure there's no... Just drag a magnet all through. So you'll get little pieces of metal, especially around the area that had the worst one sometimes. Going fishing for some metal pieces. Ooh. Put some of these new guys in. Nice and soaked in oil. There's 2. The first 6. And these guys, rockadockies. You put your lubed up rockers on there. Do it. Lube your rocker. And pull this other camshaft off real quick. Get these out of the way. And cleaning all the metal, putting them things right in the hole. If you're not familiar with this, this is Ultra Slick Engine Assembly Lubrication. It's super sticky, it sticks to parts, so when you put it together it doesn't drip off like oil. Highly recommend it when you're doing anything like this, especially if you're putting a new camshaft in. You put it on the journals, on all the new rolly parts. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Little sticky, got some stick to it. Looby dooby doo. I like using this because you can't really over tighten it, so you can snug everything down and then go back in and torque it all. This will help you like push the valve springs down a little bit. Like make sure those are all seated well. Maybe like that, and we put it back on. Where you going, fool? Right there. Oh, see, that's what happens. It will jump. It jumped. Jumped that time, and yeah, tensioner shot back out. Just set those for now. We're gonna put those on to get the other cam. Alright, those are all done. Waiting on the camshaft. Alright, the final camshaft finally got here. It is now Friday. The first one got here on Monday. I didn't know it was coming from 2 different warehouses until I got another tracking number. Sometimes parts will beep you. Oh, there goes my phone. Hurry up! Yeah, you'll be waiting forever for parts that you can slap on. So now that we have it, go ahead. Alright, so this should be intake cam. Wait a minute. Left exhaust. No. No. Did they give me the wrong? Are you kidding me? I am gonna lose my. What do I have? Wait. No, we're right. I thought they gave me the wrong one for. I thought the freaking awesome. I was supposed to drive there and kick their ass. No, I looked at the wrong one. Freaked me out for a minute. I was like, I double checked this like 14 damn times. All right, so yeah. Right intake, left exhaust. Woo, freaked myself out there. Obviously it's taking so long and I was just like, what else could go wrong? And briefly thought of that. Now that I can change my pants, because I just peed my pants. Let's get this some gun in there. We've been waiting for her. She's gonna slap down in here. All right, let's do this. Alright, look at cams for a minute. So when you get this cam, it's very intimidating. You're like, how do I know if I put it in the right way? There's holes all over it. People say put the holes up. And they are correct on the holes thing. But there are holes on this side that are on both sides. And you have this little crown part. There's a hole straight on the top. Obviously the best thing you would do would be take pictures before you take it apart. But if you don't know and you took it apart and you didn't take pictures, this hole goes straight up. And there's a thing on here that says left side exhaust, so it says LE. That should be straight up. And when it's sitting down here on the engine, it should look like this other one. But yeah. And then obviously you have this little keyway thing that only goes one way. So don't go trying to force it. If it doesn't go on, it's because this little keyway is not in the little hole. But what I'm gonna do is just slide this guy on now. Like so. But I need to take the tension back off of the tensioner. Oh, biscuits. Get back on me. Make sure you take this off of the car. It'll go flying across the shop. Alright, we're going to change this up here. We'll do this a different way. We're going to set it on there. And we're going to... Well, if you get to the back cam and you're like, oh, the only 36mm socket I have is for axle nuts and it's like this. Well, don't fear, Harbor Freight is near. Icon. They make this oil filter kit. It has a massive 36mm that is perfect fit right here on the camshaft nut. I love Harbor Freight. I thought I had a lot of tools, but I guess not when you need this one special tool. I love you, Harbor Freight. Wipe all this metal off the magnet. It's like a fine dust from shaving those rockers. As long as you can't catch it with a fingernail, you should be okay. Make sure if you ever set these cams down, you don't put this thing on the like a metal bench or something. You can desensitize this magnet and you're gonna be in a whole bunch of trouble. Because then it ain't gonna work. So let's get these final guys out here. 1, 2. Dog here. We got the final parts now. Looby, looby, lube. Make sure you soak your rockers. Alright, now comes the fun part. We're gonna sneak that thing back in there. Hold this one, torque it. So it vibrates and then it clicks. You'll hear it vibrate and then you'll hear it click. How's the click? Kind of. Did it click? Yeah. There it goes. Click. Clickety click click. Alright, now that I have gotten everything torqued down up top, double checked my marks for the timing. So you double check this, make sure those marks are lined up on the cams before we painted them. We're gonna go down there, check the crank shouldn't move. Then we are going to turn it over and make everything actuate, make sure nothing falls apart, everything does okay. Make a nice smooth operation, because you'd rather have something happen now by hand than to just go start into something that's out of time or something. Then you can cause all kinds of, yeah. It's always good to turn it over when you do timing belts or anything like that. Always turn the engine over, make sure nothing's binding, make sure everything's going good. So I'm gonna do that, turn this over. Then we're gonna get this valve covers back on, intakes back on, those new ignition coils that we got there. And drain the oil, do an oil change. I already have a new filter in there. I slapped that in there the other day. So we're gonna do an oil change, fire this thing up, get it on down the road. So let's do that. Let's get cooking. Oh, son of a, what are you screwing around for, jerky boy? All right, oil's changed. Let's fire her up. Ooh, that sounds good. That's a good sounding engine right there. Ooh, it's purring like a cat. Okay, that's what you want to hear. You shouldn't hear any clickety clack. Listen to that. Yeah, that is whisper, clacky lackies. All right, we got her washed. She's looking spankily new. We're gonna do a final plug-in, check for codes, make sure air fuels and everything are good. Look at in, trying to find the hole. And we've got contact. Fire this old girl up. We have our auto. This is a Chrysler. Do this on every car. I want to go in there and make sure the air fuels are okay. Alternator's charging. You can go through and just check everything. All the uses. Get in there and check the use. You know, the use. Got the use. Quick little photo scan. Whoa, this thing will light them up. Hell yeah, Pentastar. Dang. Going behind me. Another quick stop. Alright, let's do this. Come on back. Oh! So, let's see here. I went into live data. I want to look at a few things. Cylinders are looking the same here. These are our voltages of our O2 sensors. It's all looking good. You can go in here, and I like to put this little gauge here. It'll give you an idea where the voltages are supposed to be. That's a better one to watch for O2 sensors. Here we go, short term. That's how you fix your Pentastar nightmare. It's not that bad. Just y'all take your time, get in there, do what you need to do. This thing's wrapped up. It's Friday night. I don't know if they want to come tonight and get it. I'm gonna give them a call, see if the car's all done. Thank you guys for stopping by. Make sure you go ahead and smack that subscribe button. I really appreciate all you guys that watch. You guys are amazing. I love answering all your comments. You guys keep it up, and I'll keep it up. So make sure you guys kick some ass at your next project, and if you need help, don't mind to chime in and give me a comment, and I'll give you a hand. Thanks for stopping by.